Welcome back to the PCS Journal, everybody. I'm Al Ruechel. I have two guests with me today, and we're going to be talking about the student application process. Wait a minute, we're only 9 weeks into the school, and you're talking about next year already? Yeah, because you got to think ahead. Joining me right now, Ellen Truskowski, Pinellas County Schools District Application Program Specialist. Ellen, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are
Good
you?
to see you again this year. And then, of course, Bill Lawrence, the Director of Student Assignment. Thank you for joining us again, Bill.
Good morning.
Well, I have to ask the question. I just said it. Ellen, we're only 9 weeks in, and you want me to start thinking about the application process? Hello?
But we're only 3 weeks away from our initial kickoff with the choice fairs.
Oh,
so
okay.
Discovery Nights will start on October 29th with John Hopkins, go through December 20th with Gulf Beaches on the last day there, and then we'll have 3 choice fairs this year. So the first one will be November 1st at Gibbs High School. We'll have the Southern Districts and countywide programs there. We have a December 3rd one on Saturday at Largo High School, where all the programs will be, and then we have a December 8th one at Dunedin High School, where we'll have the northern programs and most of the countywide programs.
So Bill, let me step back a little bit in case somebody's they're going choice. Now, obviously, we're making the assumption everybody knows that in Pinellas County, you have lots of choices. So tell me about the choice program. What exactly is it?
We do have lots of choices in Pinellas County, but today we're talking specifically about our magnet schools, our fundamental schools, and our high school career programs.
Okay.
And parents must apply for these online through the student reservation every January. This year's January application period is January 9th through January 18th. So
Okay.
It's very important that parents who would like to apply for a seat at one of those programs, one of those choice programs, that they log on and do that. in
Well, let's start with
January.
something also very basic. What percentage of parents know that they have to get on the website and know that they have to register? Are we at 100% or not?
We're at a very high percentage
Okay.
because of our tremendous outreach. With Ms. Truskowski's help and our communications department, we do television ads, we do radio spots, we do digital ads online now, we do lots and lots of print things, we send stuff home with families. All of our schools mention this at their parent meetings and in their newsletters, so we have a pretty wide reach.
Ellen, 2 new programs this year?
Yes, we've got 2 new programs. We've got North County Gifted Center. To kind of match, we're now regionalizing the 3 different gifted centers. So we have that at the old Palm Harbor Elementary School site, still to be named.
Okay.
So right now we're calling it the North County Center for Gifted Studies.
Okay.
We also have a conservatory for the arts program coming at Sandy Lane Elementary School.
Now, so the parents kind of understand this choice process. When are the grades that need to be concerned about making a choice? Because there are certain milestones. You got middle school, high school. What about these that we're talking about today?
So you can apply for most kindergarten through 5th grade for the elementary school programs.
Okay,
The
K
gifted
through 5.
centers have 1st grade through 5th grade because mostly gifted students aren't identified as early as kindergarten. They start the process then. We have a middle school programs from 6 to 8, and then we also have high school programs.
So the goal is that anybody in the county can get access to most any program within a reasonable area. And we'll talk about IB a little bit later too. So is that, Bill, have we got that right?
Yes, we have. We've been very much trying to bring mirror programs. Those are the similar programs in different geographic parts of the county. So if you do live in the northern part of the county, we now have an elementary gifted center, which we never had before. The new conservatory for the arts at Sandy Lane has been something that we've needed for a long time. We've
Right.
had Perkins Elementary fine arts program for ages, and it's very popular, and it's a countywide program. Now we're going to build something for students who want to pursue their talents and interests in the arts in the northern part of the county at what was Palm Harbor Elementary. So yes, we're trying to bring those closer to home.
Okay, so let me put on my educator's hat and results-oriented question. Are these schools working? Are we getting better grades? Are we getting better prepared students? Can they make a decision? I didn't make a decision about what I wanted to be till I was a sophomore in college, much less when I was in middle school or high school. So is it working?
I think it's working in the fact that if parents are really doing the research and finding fits for what best meets their children's interests, you're going to get more engagement. If they're more engaged in school with the different classes, whether it's a theme-based or thematic unit, the engagement factor's up, the buy-in's up, and then we tend to see less discipline. We seem to have better academic results as well.
Should parents know what their kids are going to do when they're in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade? And because the flip side of this is, well, what if they choose that they want to do the culinary program and all of a sudden they get through it and they figure that, man, I don't even know how to boil water and I don't like that. I'd rather do STEM.
It's wonderful to be able to enjoy your interests and your talents when you're young. That doesn't tie you into a program that you would pursue as a career or a college major or something like that. I'll give you an example of the pre-engineering programs that we have at both middle and elementary school. Lots of children who are very attuned to mathematics and science will pursue that, but they don't all end up being engineers. And we have children who go on to college and become engineers that never went to a program like that.
Right.
So it is the engagement piece that's so important to us, that we have programs that parents and children like, and when parents and children are engaged, they tend to achieve and perform better and enjoy school a lot more.
Okay, this is a comment that I heard, and I want you to answer. The question of this is, do these programs hurt the neighborhood school concept?
I think the neighborhood school concept is still a choice. So families get to have a choice of whether they want to go to the neighborhood school or if they want to go to a thematic or career type academy. It's finding what's the best fit to meet their child's needs. With that are a lot of times neighborhood schools will offer different programs, some with the thematic themes or nature of the magnet programs. They may not have the same elective opportunities, they may not have some of the same similar course tracks. So there's a lot of different classes that neighborhood zone schools can offer that magnet, fundamental, or career academies won't. And so it's doing your homework, going to visit the schools, going to visit the neighborhood school before you start to do. Will they meet their needs? And then finding that best fit for your child.
Do you have some parents who kind of go, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake?
And that's the beauty of the program the way it is with Pinellas County Schools. If it's something that they don't like, they can always go back to their zone school, and there's always next year's application to be able to try a different program out if that's something that they want.
Relationships, though, once you start building relationships, boy, it can be tough to break away from people that you've known, you know, as an elementary. I know them my whole life. What, 2 years? Yes, my whole life.
Well, when you're young, it seems like your whole life.
Well,
when
I
it's
know
2
it. I know it does.
But again, with those relationships, we also have many programs that have feeder pattern priority, so that if you really are engaged in a program at an elementary level, like those new gifted centers, we have you a place to continue your studies in gifted or continue your studies in the arts at the middle school level. And then in high school, we have so many high school programs that there's a wide range of things that students can look to meet their interests.
Word of mouth, how important is that? Maybe knowing somebody that went into one of these specialized schools, maybe one of the best ways to find out how these schools operate?
I think word of mouth is very important, and I think it's a great marketing tool for the schools as well. A lot of times at the choice fairs, when you go, many of the school programs will have their parents there or some of their students, so they're not just hearing from the school representatives, but they're getting the perspective from the parent or the student as well.
Answer parents' questions when they come.
Yes.
Sometimes what happens, you go to these fairs, and you get all these questions, and then you come back home and you go, gosh, why didn't I answer that question or ask it?
So every single program has a magnet coordinator whose job is to help with those. So you can call into the school and get your questions answered. Most schools will do tours. Some have different schedules. Some will work around what your schedule is. There's also the opportunity in high schools to shadow. So there's still opportunities that way, as well as the discovery nights. So while they may not have hit the choice fair, they can still attend a discovery night and get a better feel for what that program's all about.
Build transportation options. Sometimes this is what prevents kids from wanting to do the programs. Our kids, we're all over the place, but my kids went with the IB program, and it was a rigorous program, did very well. They loved it, wouldn't change a thing. The only thing that would have changed was getting up at 5:15 in the morning and catching that early bus. In our particular case, one went to St. Petersburg, the other one went to Palm Harbor IB, and it was like, wow, what a difference.
Well, our school board has been committed to providing transportation so that all children have equitable access to these choice programs. And that is part of our regionalization of bringing those programs a little bit closer to home.
Sure.
Because we also can then still transport students, but not at a high cost to the school board. Many school districts have moved away from school bus transportation for their school choice magnet type programs, and we're very proud in Pinellas County to still be able to offer that. You know, Al, I did also want to mention that, you know, last year was the first year that we opened our first technical high school in Pinellas, the Pinellas Technical High School at Seminole. And just
right,
recently we have rebranded that, so it is now going to be known as the Richard O. Jacobson Technical High School at Seminole, which offers 6 technical programs, including a soon-to-be expanded veterinary science program, which Mr. Jacobson's foundation has generously supported.
Right.
So we've got a new facility there. there. We're going to be expanding the veterinary sciences building with state-of-the-art labs for both large and small animals. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah. If I were a parent, well, I am. When I was a parent, first thing I would say to myself is, give me a book that shows me what all my choices are. I want to go to Discovery Night, but it would help if I knew ahead of time what I'm looking for.
So those guides will be going to schools for kindergarten, 5th and 8th grade students, and they'll be more at the school sites on the week of the 22nd, as well as there's a digital copy on our website. So if they go to www.pcsb.org/choice, they'll see the cover of the new guide, and they'll be able to click and look at
You have
it.
the cover?
Yeah, there's the
It's
new guide right
amazing.
here.
There it is right there. Discover your choices, magnet, fundamental, and career programs. That's great that you've got it all in one place, because you really need that. And then they also have on the back of this a map that shows the locations of all the schools and where the kids may have to go. I mean, we always make the assumption, unfortunately, that when we live here, everybody kind of knows everything, but if you're new to the district, you may not know where everything is located. Do they have to ask for those, or those automatically
We give
pass
these
out?
to every pre-kindergarten student, every 5th grade student, and every 8th grade student, because at that change from elementary to middle school or middle school to high school or coming into kindergarten, those entry-level grades are the best opportunity for families to have their children receive a seat in one of our choice programs.
Okay, everybody applies for everything, so are there limitations on how many people you can have? I know that in IB and the medical magnet that there are limited the number of people that are allowed to be in those programs.
Has to do with school capacity and the size. So there's the number of seats that are open. Each program is a little bit different based on their school size and classroom configuration. So you'll apply, you could choose from one program up to 5 different programs. So there's some choices on whether you would get an offer or a wait list. So you can apply to multiple programs with that.
Yeah, so the process is you register. In fact, let's walk through the 1, 2, 3. First thing you do is what?
You need to get a user ID or password.
User ID or password. Number 2.
Number 2, when the application period arises, as Bill said earlier, January 9th through the 18th, you would go online to reservation.pcsb.org and follow the step-by-step to apply.
Was step 2.5 go to Discovery Night?
It's
Research is very
Yeah.
important
Okay,
to
do
do
your
that
research,
in
okay.
advance of making your
Yeah,
application.
okay.
Yeah.
So then you make the application, then what happens?
Well, the first thing about your application is you can rank your choices. There's a first rank through a 5th
Okay.
rank choice. So the program that you really, really want should always be your first rank choice.
Right.
It's important that parents also remember that those first rank choices are the ones that those priorities apply to, like a 5th grader at a fundamental elementary getting that priority into a fundamental middle school. That does need to be your top rank
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
But the next step, and this is by far the most important step, is you do have to log on again to see the results of your applications, and that happens in February, and we call that the parent acceptance period. So
Right.
parents can log on, they see if they were invited to one of their programs or if they've been placed on an initial wait list, and then they have to take action. If they've been invited, they have to accept that invitation, or if they want to stay on the wait list, they can just let it ride and they don't have to do anything. That acceptance period is every February. This year it's February 13th through the 22nd.
Okay, and just a reminder, if you're on a wait list, don't panic, because a lot of times when things all filter down on choices, you can end up getting into some of these programs. I know in the IB program in particular, some of the kids were like waitlisted 25, 26, and I used to tell them, don't sweat it, you'll get in. And sure enough, when things work out. Well, it's great to have you both here, and I know this is a very, very important time. And if you have any questions, these folks would love to talk to you about them. Sometimes it can seem confusing, but I'll tell you, once you go through the process once, you don't forget how to do it. Bill and Ellen, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
your time.
much. Thank you very much.